Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. President Trump has rejected a new round of sanctions against Russia only one day after U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, announced the U.S. would impose sanctions against Russian companies connected to Syria's chemical weapons program. The reversal comes as a delegation of chemical weapons inspectors say the Syrian and Russian governments have blocked them from reaching Douma, Syria, to investigate the alleged chemical weapons attack 10 days ago in which dozens of people were killed. The U.S., Britain and France launched airstrikes against Syria on Friday night in response to the alleged chemical attack. The military action has sparked sharp backlash against British Prime Minister Theresa May, who's being denounced for carrying out the airstrikes without parliamentary approval. It's also sparked a backlash in France, where lawmakers debated the strikes in France's National Assembly and Senate Monday. This is French Prime Minister Edouard Philippe.
Our enemy is not Syria. We did not go into war against Syria or against Bashar al-Assad's regime. Our enemy is Daesh. We want to end the terrorist movement that has organized in our territory fatal attacks that have deeply struck several French families, and beyond that, all souls.
Daesh is the Arabic word for ISIS. U.S. Democratic lawmakers have also slammed the Trump administration for carrying out the airstrikes without congressional approval. The United States and Britain issued a first-of-its-kind joint warning Monday about the risks of Russian cyber attacks. The statement warned of attacks against both government institutions and private companies. Meanwhile, in Russia, an investigative journalist who'd been reporting on secret Russian paramilitary groups fighting in Syria has died after having fallen from the balcony of his fifth-floor apartment in Russia. Maxim Bordin was 32 years old. Authorities say there's nothing suspicious about his death. Yet critics say only one day before his fatal fall, he called a friend to say there was a gunman on his balcony and other masked men lurking in the stairwell near his apartment. In New York City, a federal judge has rejected President Trump's efforts to have first access to the documents seized by the FBI from the home, the office, and hotel room of his longtime personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, who's being investigated for possible bank and wire fraud. During the hearing, Cohen's lawyers also revealed Fox News host and Trump supporter Sean Hannity had been a secret client of Cohen. Cohen has only had 3 clients in recent years. Trump, Hannity, and longtime Republican donor Elliot Broidy, who recently resigned as deputy finance chair of the Republican National Committee over revelations he paid $1.6 million to a former Playboy model to keep quiet about their affair, which resulted in her having an abortion. Adult film star Stephanie Clifford, also known as Stormy Daniels, also showed up to Monday's high-profile court hearing. She denounced Cohen, who paid her $130,000 in hush money only days before the 2016 election, to try to keep her quiet about her alleged affair with Donald Trump.
For years, Mr. Cohen has acted like he is above the law. He has considered himself and openly referred to himself as Mr. Trump's fixer. He is played by a different set of rules, or should we say no rules at all. He has never thought that the little man, or especially women, and even more women like me, mattered. That ends now. My attorney and I are committed to making sure that everyone finds out the truth and the facts of what happened, and I give my word that we will not rest until that happens.
Meanwhile, FBI Director James Comey's highly anticipated book, A Higher Loyalty, officially goes on sale today. We'll have more on Michael Cohen, James Comey, and President Trump after headlines. We'll be speaking with Marcy Wheeler. The Government Accountability Office has ruled the Environmental Protection Agency broke the law by spending $43,000 to install a soundproof phone booth for EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt. It's the latest ethics scandal to hit Pruitt, who's also facing scrutiny over revelations the EPA has spent $3 million on his security detail. The EPA first claimed the spending was justified due to death threats against Pruitt, but then admitted in response to a FOIA request, a Freedom of Information Act request, that there are no records of death threats against Pruitt. In Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, protesters disrupted and shut down operations at a downtown Starbucks after a viral video showed two African-American men being accused of trespassing and arrested by police for being inside the coffee shop. On Monday, the community group Philadelphians, organized to witness, empower, and rebuild, organized a sit-in inside the Starbucks.
Starbucks coffee is anti-black. A whole lot of racism, a whole lot of crime. A whole lot of racism, a whole lot of crime. If we can't get it, shut it down. If we can't get it, shut it down.
Starbucks CEO Kevin Johnson has apologized, and the company says the manager is no longer working at that store, although it's unclear whether she's been fired or just relocated to another store. In Canada, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is continuing to back the construction of the massive $5.8 billion Trans Mountain pipeline, vowing to commit taxpayer money to the project despite widespread Indigenous-led protests and a slew of lawsuits. If built, the Kinder Morgan pipeline would triple the amount of oil flowing from Alberta's tar sands to the coast of British Columbia. Kinder Morgan says if legal challenges are not resolved by May 31st, it'll abandon plans to build the proposed pipeline. In art and entertainment news, music legends Nina Simone and Sister Rosetta Tharpe have been inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Meanwhile, superstar musician and performer Beyoncé made history at the California Music Festival, Coachella.
Coachella, thank you for allowing me to be the first Black woman to headline Coachella. Ain't that about a bitch?
The first Black woman to headline Coachella. In her groundbreaking two-hour performance that celebrated Black culture, paid tribute to historically Black colleges and universities, and included sound bites of a speech by Malcolm X, quotes from feminist author Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, and songs by Nina Simone and the Nigerian musician Fela Kuti. And the Pulitzer Prizes also made history this year.
And last, but certainly not least, for music. The prize is awarded to Damn by Kendrick Lamar, a virtuosic song collection unified by its vernacular authenticity and rhythmic dynamism that offers affecting vignettes capturing the complexity of modern African-American life.
Kendrick Lamar is the first non-classical or jazz artist to receive the Pulitzer Prize in music. He's topped the charts with music that tackles issues of race, politics, religion, mental health, and violence, including in his song Duckworth.
They didn't kill him. In fact, it looked like they're the last to survive. Pay attention, that one decision changed both of their lives. One curse at a time, reversed and manifested good karma, and I tell you why. You take two strangers.
Other Pulitzer Prize winners included journalists behind the New York Times and New Yorker investigations into how Hollywood mogul Harvey Weinstein had sexually harassed, assaulted, and raped more than 100 women, revelations that helped spark a wave of resistance to sexual assault and harassment in workplaces around the world. And James Forman, Jr. has won the Pulitzer Prize in general nonfiction for his book, Locking Up Our Own, Crime and Punishment in Black America. And those are some of the headlines. This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman.